The A Scene is your one-stop shop for all things entertainment in Georgia. We're talking behind-the-scenes visits, we're talking casting calls, we're even talking all the time, interviewing your favorite stars and getting advice for those aspiring actors that continue to move to Georgia. So make sure that you continue to follow us on all social media. It is time for the A Scene, your premier source for entertainment in the A. All right, so we are talking Ryan Gosling. Ladies, listen up. Okay, so First Man starring Ryan Gosling is the untold story of Neil Armstrong, the first man to ever walk on the moon. It actually premieres nationwide in theaters today. But before you head to the box office, I sat down with Mr. Ryan Gosling, director Damien Chazelle, and the two sons of Neil Armstrong himself. And here's what they had to say about filming this entire movie in Atlanta.
It's the riveting story behind the first manned mission to the moon. A story focusing on Neil Armstrong, who was played by Ryan Gosling, but it's told in a way you would have never imagined.
And it was the personal stuff that amazed me, stuff I didn't know anything about. The fact that he lost a child of his right on the eve of becoming an astronaut. The fact that he lost several of his close friends on that road.
And that untold story, those raw emotions came to life. And Ryan Gosling says the film's director went to great lengths to make every single scene as real as possible.
I think that's what made it feel fresh, just sort of diving into the reality of it. And every time we chose to do that, it just got more interesting. You know, we had technicians on set for every mission that were directly involved in some of these missions. At one point, 3 people who had been to the moon.
And did I mention they never even used a green screen? How cool is that? What was it like, and how did Atlanta aid in your performance and deliverance of this role?
Well, Atlanta was very good to us.
It was.
It makes a great moon.
All the space photography was done at Tyler Perry Studios, and the cabin where Neil and his wife Janet first lived was actually built on the studio's back lot. Other scenes filmed in neighborhoods like Roswell and downtown Atlanta. If Dad were to see this film, what would he think about it after seeing this film when it comes out on Friday?
The thing that is most important to him would be the accuracy. You know, if you got the wrong capsule with the wrong mission or the wrong wheels on the wrong airplane, he wasn't having any of that.
No. And Mark and Rick, the two sons you saw right there, they were actually in the film. See if you can spot them when you go see it today. Now, the film is also facing some backlash since we don't see the exact moment when Neil Armstrong places that flag on the moon. Critics are actually calling the film unpatriotic, believe it or not. But the director and, of course, Neil's sons and Ryan Gosling say you will leave the theater feeling proud of our country. Crash, over to you. Welcome back to Morning Rush, folks. If only you can hear the conversations we have during the commercial break. This morning we are heading back to the world of video gaming. You need to listen up because this is a billion-dollar industry and much of it is being generated in Atlanta. I got a chance to learn more about the world of esports and esport casters. Yeah, it's a thing. The folks who narrate the video gamers while folks watch the game. And we went to one of the hottest gaming headquarters in ATL.
So players come in, they see the skill shot sign, they know they're in store for some good competition.
I felt like Mario in a Mario game as I entered the only facility of its kind, Skillshot Media, dedicated solely to esports. And we got a tour from the founder, Todd Harris.
It's actually a soundproof environment if they want to close the door so the other team can't hear their strats.
Dedicated to popular esport games like Smite and Paladins, I quickly learned that esports is the fastest growing event in Georgia, and Skillshot unites gamers from all over the world.
Kanga Esports actually has traveled here all the way from Australia.
But gamers aren't the only ones flocking to Atlanta. Meet some of Georgia's best esport casters. Just kidding, but I had to try it out myself.
I was doing it from home, New York, working remote, flying to events, and then they were like, hey, you know, might as well join the team full time. So I came down here and I've been enjoying Atlanta for now 3 years.
And for good reason. With an estimated 215 million viewers, according to the World Economic Forum, esports focuses heavily on the fan experience. And in Georgia alone, that experience has already topped over $750 million. And yes, it's left celebs wanting to get in on the mix.
You've got teams like 100 Thieves and teams like Energy who have very, very popular investors. Drake just teamed up with owner Nate Shot of 100 Thieves. Energy is backed by players like Alex Rodriguez and Shaquille O'Neal.
You can watch Soulja Boy go play some games on Twitch these days.
So it's no doubt that esports has fueled the growth of video gaming with 150 game development studios in Georgia alone. Anyone can join and anyone can learn. So maybe you too can get a piece of Georgia's gaming pie.
All right, you feeling like a gamer now? I felt like one when I was on that desk. It's much harder. It's very hard. Okay, so and get this, Rick Fox, the NBA champion, he runs his own esports team with the help of people in the gaming world, of course. And I also learned that Juju Smith-Schuster with the Pittsburgh Steelers, he lived with some video gamers during the off season just so he could learn how to play video games. How cool is that? We know more and more cities in Georgia are transforming into movie sets, right? And with the 9th season of AMC's Walking Dead, or The Walking Dead, in production, the A-Scene had to make a trip to see how Sonoya turns into the fictional Woodbury.
It's the city where survivors have struggled to keep the zombies out. The city where many have sought refuge. But today, it's the city where fans of The Walking Dead are dying to see.
It's really big in Australia, huge show.
All my family that came wanted to go to Six Flags. Now they want to come see The Walking Dead.
That's because the show's surviving town of Woodbury is really Sonoya, Georgia, a true fan experience where fans can even drink the same coffee as some of their favorite actors who shoot in town.
It's just kind of fun. You feel like you're kind of as close to the celebrity as you can get.
Brian Yacht and Scott Tigalar are co-owners of the Waking Dead Cafe, created after they saw a need.
A lot of fans were coming to town and just looking to buy a t-shirt or some kind of paraphernalia related to the show, and there was no place to buy it.
So the two opened the Woodbury shop, which became so successful they partnered with the show's creators and opened the Waking Dead Cafe. Within a couple of years, they opened their second restaurant, Nick and Norman's, named after the show's executive producer and lead actor. But those aren't the only experiences for fans.
You guys have a downstairs museum.
Yep, we've got a little bit of everything on display down here. So this was the original design for one of Norman's knives, Daryl's knives, in the show called the Blood Diamond.
So Brian, I've never been in jail before, but this one's from The Walking Dead, so I'm okay.
It is, yeah. We've got actually two different types of jail cells here. We've got the cell that we're in right now was one of the ones that they were quarantined in season 3.
Outside the museum, fans can even see the fictional city of Alexandria, fenced off from the zombies, but home to 7 real families, 2 of which are Scott and Brian.
Sometimes there's explosions at night. Sometimes there's, we live in a zombie apocalypse. It's kind of cool.
Isn't that so cool that they live there? And believe it or not, in 2007, there were only 5 businesses on Main Street. The real estate tycoons bought 22 vacant properties. Today, there are more than 85 businesses in town with 0 vacancies. It is amazing how one show can bring an entire town to life. It is time for the A-Scene, your premier source for entertainment in the A. And this morning, we have an exclusive for you. You are going to love this. We are taking you behind the scenes of a movie about a 15-year-old boy with autism who desperately tries to mend the rift between his mom and his dad. His solution? Training for a marathon. It's called Tyson's Run, and it's starring a familiar character from The Walking Dead, and it's being shot right here in Marietta. You could have been in Hollywood. You could have been shooting this movie in New York City. Why Atlanta?
At first, it was for tax credits and the proper setting. But once you get here, you realize it's for the hospitality.
Get to set, hair, makeup, wardrobe.
You've been shooting for the past 3 weeks. You got 3 more weeks to go. What has been your favorite part about shooting in Atlanta?
Oh my God, Buckhead.
Ooh.
Everybody has a smile on their face. It feels like LA on some level, but it's way more green.
Obviously, you wrote the script here. Talk to us about the movie and why you created a project like this one.
Well, I was inspired to write this story based on a boy, but in an overall sense, it was just about accepting everyone for who they are.
And Major Dotson, who's playing Tyson,
How is that?
So cool.
The nice thing about working on a set is you don't know who you're going to meet. And once the people turn out to be pretty pleasant, then all in all, it just becomes an amazing experience.
I love Amy Smart.
And I love Kim Bass.
See how good of an actor she is.
I'm totally acting. With this story, it's like the Tyson character, he's such an original, you know, and I think we need to more embrace like the differences rather than trying to make everyone be the same.
That Southern hospitality goes along with the professionals who are here. And so it was the absolute right choice to come here. And it's been a fantastic experience, and I don't think it'll be my last time here making a film.
It better not be. I mean, that's Kim Bass right there. He created Sister Sister. He also created Kenan and Kel as well, so it's gonna be a really good movie. Now, the director also told me they hired a ton of local actors, 35 to be exact. And as we get closer to the movie's release date in 2019, I'll be delivering another story with the executive producer of the film, who talks about logistics and what it takes to break into the behind the scenes for a film like this. Love that. Zac Brown Band fans, listen up. The A-Scene has gone where no fan has gone before. Maybe. We recently caught up with one of the most recognized members of the band, the award-winning John Driscoll Hopkins. He gave us a tour of his 2,500 square foot studio, and then we learned he's not stopping anytime soon.
Welcome to Brighter Shade Studios.
It's not every day that a Southern rock superstar gives you a tour of their studio, but Hop of the Zac Brown Band took us for a ride inside.
It's kind of like being in a big, fancy barn. You know, like a cathedral almost, like a church, kind of.
A church with 45-degree ceilings, miniature doors that lead to amp lockers, lots of natural light, a customized deep royal blue drum set that's gorgeous, and tons of inspiration.
These basses were all in the Country Music Hall of Fame for the year that we had that exhibit. And so they've got my girls' names in them. Grace, Faith, and Hope.
His little ladies even inspired this bar outside the studio made of guitar wood, each inch filled with handwritten lyrics from his songs. Reminders, he says, that he needs to write more.
That little ballerina keeps dancing, dancing in my head, right?
Next up, the control room.
This is where I spend most of the time. This room is acoustically treated to sound like it should sound on all the recording.
Do you still find yourself having challenges as successful as you are?
All the time, all the time. In the recording, in the songwriting world, the challenge is always to come up with something creative and new that inspires you, because it's really easy to get into a rut and get into, I've already written that, I've already said that, I've already done that.
What would be your suggestion or your advice to musicians who have followed your footsteps and would like to one day land in the position that you are?
I mean, the best thing that I can ever say to anybody is don't quit. Even if you have to go do something else to make ends meet, don't give it up. Otherwise, you're doing it for nothing.
It's Francesca. Welcome to the A-Scene. So the old saying goes, life imitates art far more than art imitates life. And that's the case in this story, when a fictional restaurant in the hit show The Vampire Diaries came to life in a familiar town. It's the destination that has fans all over the world now flocking to Mystic Grill in Mystic Falls, Virginia. But in real life, they're closer than you think.
I came from Titusville, Florida.
We're from New Orleans, Louisiana.
And we came to Covington, Georgia, just to see this.
It's the very place that doubled as the fictional city Mystic Falls on television. Covington, Georgia, the home of the hit show The Vampire Diaries.
When it was over yesterday, she just kept eyeing me.
The show films all over Covington Square, but in the series, there was one spot that always felt real. So real that Angie Besborn did something about it.
So I thought, oh my gosh, it would be awesome if that was a real restaurant.
So in 2013, business was immediately booming. Okay, not like that scene from season 5. But now, people like Julian Nicholson and his mom Elizabeth travel miles just to get a taste of the show. The dining room is also pretty cool, filled with people who travel all the way from Sweden, China, Austria, Alaska, even Scotland. But guess who's also visited the restaurant?
Pretty much everybody from The Vampire Diaries has been by. They've been gracious enough.
And that list also includes other stars like Danny Glover and Queen Latifah, to name a few. Cool, right? But to most fans, this is the money shot.
Everybody's jumped off this clock tower. I have to tell people, go get your picture made. Please don't jump.
And the food's good too. The Clock Tower Burger and the Mystic Grilled Cheese are two of the restaurant's favorites. Besborn tells me within the last 5 years, business has been so busy here that more than a dozen businesses now call the square home. So I guess it's safe to say the square has risen from the dead.
Just kidding, folks. It is time for the A Scene, folks. And it is the most anticipated entertainment networking event in the Southeast. And we are hearing from the founder this morning. Every year, the Atlanta Pitch Summit gets content creators of all levels in front of top Hollywood executives and veterans for a chance to turn their pitches into reality. It kicks off today, but take a listen.
This season on The Real Housewives of Atlanta.
Have you ever seen The Real Housewives of Atlanta and thought, I could have started that? Say what? Or maybe you feel your show could give the hit series The Walking Dead a run for their money. Incoming. Well, this weekend, if you've got a neat script idea, these folks want to hear it.
The energy is thrilling. It's a big rush. We kind of consider it speed dating with a script in your hand.
After producing and pitching in places like Los Angeles, Ty Johnston Chavis decided to create the opportunity here in 2011. Today, the Atlanta Pitch Summit equips attendees to package, pitch, and find distribution for their projects, which she says is vital to keep Georgia's TV and film ecosystem afloat.
You have these networks and these production companies in the studios that are coming here. They're wanting to be here because they know that some of the best work is coming out of Georgia.
So awesome that filmmakers from the Bahamas are now wanting a piece of the pie.
Why me and you don't go into business together? What kind of business?
This Bohemian film Cargo is just one that will premiere to kick off the summit.
A lot of people are looking at SCAD and looking at ways that we can expand our own market. The Bahamas has a great little pocket of people who are content creators, but they need to expand.
Learn how to pitch, how to package, and then turn around the very next day and pitch to a Fox Network executive, a Lifetime executive, a Nickelodeon executive. So where can you do that?
Where can you do that? Well, the Atlanta Pitch Summit starting today. Now, the cast from Cargo will actually be there for the kickoff tonight. And on Saturday, you'll get to pitch to prominent brands like Fox, Lifetime, MGM, Nickelodeon, Swirl Films, Aspire TV, BET. The list goes on. So get there early. And of course, you can follow our Instagram page. I have continuously put out the Pitch Summits poster so you can get all the information there. And we also have a web article online right now. Crash, over to you.
You may think Avengers Infinity War filmed in New York. Or maybe you thought Captain America Civil War was shot in Lagos, Nigeria. Atlanta has now doubled, tripled, and quadrupled for locations around the world. And now businesses are taking note.
This concept of movie tours in Atlanta, how did you know there was going to be a need for this several years ago?
Oh, well, I didn't. We were just taking friends around who were here in town, and we just decided to do this as a business.
And now Atlanta Movie Tours is in its 6th year, and founder Carrie Burns says business and her tours are booming.
All right, so how many of you have seen Captain America Civil War? We saw about half the Avengers down there during filming, so that was really cool. They had a huge inflatable green screen on this side of the bridge.
And it was all shot off Nelson Street.
This next block we're about to enter here on Mitchell Street is a very popular block for filming.
So popular, it's been used for 3 different movies in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Spider-Man Homecoming, Ant-Man 2, and this nail-biting scene in Black Panther.
This is the building where Claw was interrogated by the CIA.
This may look like an empty plaza behind me at the Civic Center.
A couple of years ago, it was transformed into the Institute of Infectious Diseases, a scene of destruction on Piedmont Avenue as Captain America and the Black Widow threw down. And if that movie didn't cause enough destruction downtown, take a look at these images. This is what happened when the Avengers and Thanos got a hold of Walton and Cone Street.
How do you all find the locations when you have to battle CGI?
Even with CGI, you can spot it. There's always going to be little doorways. In the case of Spider-Man Homecoming, it's our parking meters.
What do you see as the future when it comes to the tour industry, when it comes to movies in Atlanta?
Oh, well, it's limitless right now, because we're only scratching the surface of film and tourism in Atlanta.
Make sure that you continue to follow us on all social media.